Welcome, welcome. How you doing, guys? Hi, my name is Frank Douglas, Jorma Ortiz, and I'm pretty sure you guys want to be jockeys. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, this
So
is
because you can't be careful with the security guard. So he's gonna leave the gate. He's gonna get a good position because in racing it's always tragedy. You know, you have to get a good position early so you can be in contention. He's gonna hit the horse now. It's only regular. The regulation is only 6 times only can you hit the horse.
Wow.
More than 6 times you can get fined. And everybody's watching you. Everybody's watching you. But you'll feel the stick when you finish. And I got one right over there because it's very soft. It sounds hard because it's wood. He's gonna cross the wire and he's gonna win the race.
For a while.
Yeah.
I've been doing pony races for I've been doing pony races since I was 12, so.
Yeah.
He just turned 15.
Regular races of 2 more years he's gonna ride, but he's been running point-to-point races.
So if you come on May 25th, you'll see Yomar race with
Next-
other
yeah, next.
young people.
Not this Saturday, but next Saturday
Yeah.
we'll be here pony racing.
Memorial Day.
Yes.
I see his foot is in the stirrup just a little
Yeah,
bit.
he's
Is
gonna
it
explain to
different
you.
on a real horse?
Yes.
Yeah,
real- that's a real horse.
no, it's the same. This is how we ride.
Because, I mean, you're,
Just with our toes, yep.
wow.
Yeah, it's also safer. If we're coming out the gate, some horses might stumble out the gate and, we can
Oh, you
just,
could get out.
yes, we could get out easier, we could jump off. But if we had our foot in like this,
Yeah, like if you're riding
we would get stuck.
You'll be stuck, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Entire safety equipment. This is his helmet, and of course his rib protector, and of course lots of goggles. They usually have several sets of goggles because the dirt is flying in your face, which is why you want to be first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the way it works is the juice is turned on with the key. Once the juice is turned on, we lock the doors. Once the doors are locked, the starter will give us our assignments, and Jeff will explain to you.
Yes, we'll be huddled out in front of the gate right before the race. There'll be a starter and 12 to 15 assistant starters. The starter will give assignments to, say there's 10 horses. Every horse will have an assistant starter, so there'll be, 10 assistant starters in this gate. They'll have a lead up, and they'll put this on the bit of the bridle and lead them into the gate. And when the ninth horse goes in, you'll hear 1 out. When the last horse goes in, you'll hear locked up, and that means it's go time.
That was locked up. That's the cue for the starter to take the start. We straighten the head up. He hits the button. So this is 4 by 12 from front to back, and we're standing on the 4-inch ledge. So you're in there with a 1,300-pound animal and my light cell and a ride. Give you ladies a fun fact. The Preakness was the first leg of the Triple Crown to use an electric starting gate. Church, 1940. First gate was invented 1939. 1940, the Preakness run out of an electric starting gate. 41 church, 1941 church. So we're number one. They're beyond that.
You'll see next to the finish line the long skinny mirror. That actually shoots the wire up to another device up here, which places the wire in the photographs, that precision timed wire. So that's how they do it. That curtain up there, that tent up there, you see, the one on the right, is where when you watch the racing on TV and you see the handicappers sitting there in the tracks in the background, they're usually up in that tent. This is the jockey's balcony where they can do interviews and stand up here. The alibi breakfast. Way back when the clubhouse was still standing over there, men would gather on the porch, and from Kentucky they would gather on the porch and give them their excuses on why they didn't win the Derby. So it's called the alibi breakfast. They moved it here. So they give away awards. They're giving away an award to a woman who's been in racing for a long time. Her name is Mrs. Ellen Charles. She's Marjorie Merriweather Post's granddaughter, and she has a horse racing this weekend named Post Time, which is kind of cool because her family name is Post,
And of course, post time is when the race is about to. They're going to put the jockeys up on the horses, so it's kind of a cute thing. She's being honored, and every year we have a special U.S. Post Office cancellation. You can actually buy a envelope that has a special Preakness cancellation on it. And every year they have a celebrity postmaster, I guess. So this year it's a lady named Bev Strauss. She runs Mid-Atlantic Thoroughbred Rescue, and she and her husband have saved countless racehorses and given them second careers.
How does a horse know to race? I know they know how to run. That's not what I'm asking. How do they know to? Yeah, their job is to beat the other guy.
It's all in the training. Different people train different horses, but they all have different personalities as well. I mean, some horses just naturally are competitive. Even if they're out in the field, they try and outrun the other horses or do different things. So some of them just pick it up naturally, but it's all about the training. You want to put them with other horses in the mornings to where you teach them to go by, you teach them to come from behind, teach them to get dirt in their face, just to be able to overcome anything that happens in a race. So sometimes instead of pushing on them, it's more about gathering them up and pulling on them, and they're like, okay, let me take control and I'll get you to the winner's circle. So weigh in before every race and after every race, because they want to make sure that you still have the same weight on you. You didn't like throw some out so the horses got in lighter. And if you look in the program, it might say, if I rode 7 or 8 races, it might say different weights on all my horses. People think that's my weight, what's listed. So it might say 117 for the 3rd race, 126 for the Preakness. That's not my weight. That's my weight with my saddles, with all my equipment. So for me to be 117 with all my saddles and everything else, I need to be about 112 pounds. So for me to
yay.
Whatever.
Well,
I was always tall. Everybody said I would be too big to ride and wouldn't make it. They were right that I was too big, but I found ways to make it. I ate extremely healthy, but every day I ran. I lost 5 to 7 pounds the last 20 years I rode every single day, but I'd gain it back at night. It was just water weight, but I'd do that by running 8 to 10 miles every day in plastic suits. It was hard, and a lot of times my body would say stop, but my mind would say, if you only have to do this for 3 hours to live your dreams, keep running. And so I was able to do that for a long time, and traveled around the world. I was very fortunate, won the biggest race in the world in Dubai. I lived in Hong Kong. I went over and rode for the Queen in England. Been to Saudi Arabia 34 times. Lived in Hong Kong. I was just very blessed. Then I just was invited this week, even though I'm retired now. It's the 80th anniversary of World War II. So D-Day, they used to ride racehorses during battle. They've invited me to go over this on the 4th. And then on the 6th, I'm going to be riding on the beaches of Normandy on racehorses to celebrate 80th anniversary.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So yeah, it's like such an honor that they asked me to go do that. But and then times are very times are very important as far as being a jockey. You have to know how fast you're going, different parts of the race, how much energy you still have underneath you, with how much horse you have to reserve for not only for you to get to the finish line, but you know some of these horses have different styles. So some will be coming late in the race. They come from way behind. So you want to try and keep your horse gathered up. You see some riders that'll ride with their reins dangling. That doesn't help a horse. You want to keep them collected where they can really reach out, and you can become one with them. That was, to me, for when I first started, I was riding racehorses. When I became experienced, I rode with racehorses. I found that
Your interest in horse racing. Horse racing in America and the state of Maryland is one of the very few places where the American dream still very much exists. And I say that because you can come to the racetrack not knowing anything about a horse and learn how to take care of one, and then progress through the years. You can either learn how to ride them and be a jockey, or you can learn how to train them and be a trainer or owner. There's just countless opportunities on the racetrack. You can get into marketing, security, tractors. There's just enormous numbers of what you can do. Because of my small frame, I decided to try to become a jockey. I did learn how to ride, and I did ride races. I wasn't anything spectacular, but I was able to carve out a living and a career. So I have no regrets there. When I got too old and wasn't riding anymore, I became an advocate for the racetrack employees. I got an office job. I did that for about 20 years. And then I retired 3 years ago. And 6 months into my retirement, there was a racing commissioner that had resigned. And Governor Hogan at the time, his office called me and said, "We have a vacancy we'd like for you to fill. If you're interested, we'd like to appoint you as a racing commissioner." Hogan termed out, more came in, and more reappointed me. So I'm loving life. Like I said, you can come with absolutely nothing to the racetrack and just progress through the years and be somebody. I had a fabulous career, and I have the racetrack to thank for it.
My name is Robin Hudson. I wrote the book on Sergeant Reckless. Does anybody know the story of Sergeant Reckless? No. Y'all are in for a treat. She's America's greatest warhorse. She was bred in Korea to be a racehorse. In 1948 she was born. But when the war broke out in 1950, racing was suspended, and so she was in the fields working. The Marines needed a horse to carry ammunition up to the guns for the recoilless rifle. Very heavy rounds, 24 rounds apiece. A man could only carry 2, maybe 3 on his back, but he could only make a couple of trips because it was so exhausting. So Eric Pedersen, Lieutenant Eric Pedersen, got permission to go to the Seoul racetrack to look for a pack animal, and he found Reckless. He purchased her for $250 of his own money, and the only reason the young Korean man sold his beloved horse to him was to buy an artificial leg for his sister who lost her leg in a landmine accident. So his loss was the Marines' gain. During her most heroic battle, the rounds that she carried weighed 24 pounds apiece. They were in canisters, they were live rounds, and they would strap these on her back and she would go up and down the hills. In this one battle, in March of '53, she made 51 trips up to the guns. She carried 386 rounds of ammunition on her back. That's over 9,000 pounds carried on her back in one day. There was so much incoming and outgoing firepower in this battle that it was a blur on the radar screen, and the rounds would explode and rain down on the troops. And she was hit with falling shrapnel in her forehead and in her left flank. It earned her 2 Purple Hearts. And but she survived, and she even carried wounded off the battlefield. And tomorrow, the 7th race of the day, will be the 9th running Sergeant Reckless Memorial Dash. So Pimlico, I get the chills when I say that. Pimlico honors her with a race every year because she was bred to be a racehorse but didn't have a chance to race there.
So at whatever point a horse needs to retire from racing, and if they're not going to be suitable to go back into the breeding and bloodstock industry, that horse needs to find whatever it is their next career or situation is going to be, and that's where the aftercare industry comes into play. So over particularly the last 10 to 15 years in North America, we have really mobilized and organized a very robust aftercare industry full of organizations, nonprofits, individuals that focus on helping horses transition from racing to careers as riding or competitive sport horses. So one of the ways that functions is Maryland Beyond the Wire program. So that's funded by the industry here in Maryland. And when horses are ready to retire, they have a representative that helps the horsemen get their horses listed and placed usually out into partner farms around the state. Those are usually accredited by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, and so that TAA is the body that ensures that all of the nonprofit organizations working in this space are doing so with best practices. Where my organization comes in, we're the Retired Racehorse Project. We do not take in horses, but what we do is kind of complementary to the aftercare organizations that are doing the placement. So we're focused on increasing demand and awareness around the breed in the riding industry and encouraging people to pick a thoroughbred as their riding partner over a quarter horse or a warm blood or what have you. So our big kind of signature event is the Thoroughbred Makeover. It's a retraining competition for horses that have recently retired from racing. Individuals apply to participate. They acquire their horses independently, train them throughout the year, and then they come into a 10-discipline horse show at the Kentucky Horse Park. Over $100,000 in prize money, and that's kind of our big shtick.